The Walt Disney Company needs a win with Star Wars, but that win may not be forthcoming. For the saboteur, Mark Hamill is out there preventing them from having a great defense against Gina Carano. Today, we'll tell you what he said and why it is blowing up the internet. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we endeavor to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve. Joining us today is investigative reporter for ThatParkPlace.com, as well as That Park Place, the YouTube channel, Jonas J. Campbell. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great this morning, and I would say that this is the way to enjoy your morning or your evening or whenever you're listening to this particular video.
Indeedly doodly, folks. You can help us enjoy this video even more by clicking that like button. We've got a message for you that you're not going to hear many other places, because guess what? It turns out that what Mark Hamill is doing is not just bad for Star Wars. It's really bad for Bob Iger. It's really bad for Kathleen Kennedy, and it's great for Elon Musk. Are you curious what that might be about? Well, we'll explain in just a moment. Here's the article. It's out of fandomwire.com. Then you can go force yourself. Mark Hamill expresses hatred for Donald Trump and his supporters with a bold message at Fan Expo. In other words, he was offensive to half the country or more. Mark Hamill recently attended a fan event in Chicago where he talked about his Star Wars legacy. He also savagely ridiculed Donald Trump. Well, I don't know about that. But, Jonas, there's a bigger story here to this, and here's the summary. It says, Mark Hamill made an appearance at the Fan Expo in Chicago. In addition to talking about his legacy, he took a clever dig at the Donald, I guess, in a brilliant wordplay. Brilliant? Really? I mean, it's just a pun. Geez, these people are terrible at their job.
It's not even that deep of a pun.
It's just a stupid pun. Anyway, Jonas, there's a bigger story here. We'll play the video of Mark Hamill doing this in just a moment. There's a way bigger story to this, and that is that Mark Hamill, when he does these things, what he's doing is he's opening up Gina Carano and Elon Musk to a much bigger argument in the lawsuit, which now is going to mediation. And this is going to be used because if Mark Hamill continues to be part of the Lego Star Wars stuff that Disney owns and runs, if he continues to be a part of the Mandalorian movie, which we believe that he is, if he continues to be a part of these promotional materials that Disney puts out, and he has been, then he is intertwined and interconnected with Disney and with Lucasfilm. And if he is allowed to make these sorts of very abrasive, I think everybody agrees they're abrasive, if he makes these sort of abrasive political comments, but Gina Carano was fired for perhaps abrasive, but I don't think so. I think that she was trying to be unifying political statements. Then it creates a real problem for Disney. And Mark Hamill continues to poke the bear and present to the judicial system exactly how one-sided this is. Jonas, I talked to Ron Coleman, attorney for That Park Place, and also a guest of Valiant Renegade last night. Ron Coleman said that, yes, Mark Hamill's comments here at this expo can be used in the in this lawsuit, Gina versus Disney. So what do you think of this, Jonas, and why do they not stop?
Well, first of all, I totally agree that these tweets will come up in the lawsuit. In fact, I do believe that his tweets are named in the evidentiary portion from
He's adding more, Jonas.
That's right. That's right. In the joint filing between the Disney company and Gina Carano, Gina's side lists Pedro Pascal and Mark Hamill's tweets as something that they would like to enter into evidence here. So there is, in my opinion, there's no way that a clear political statement about Donald Trump from, I'll just say it, the lead actor of the Star Wars franchise, there's no way that doesn't enter into the conversation here. And these are, okay, so Mark Hamill is in town in Chicago at the time of recording this for 4 days. And it's for the biggest fan celebration that he can be a part of in Mark Hamill's eyes. No, we're not talking about Fan Expo Chicago. Mark Hamill is there to worship at the altar of his favorite political party. The DNC is prepping in Chicago.
Oh, what a connection, Jonas. That's why he's at this.
Yes. So this might have been, I'm going to say this is a big get for Fan Expo Chicago, or whatever the name of the event.
How funny. How much was he charging for autographs, Jonas, before he goes to the DNC?
I think it was like $500.
$700, Jonas. $700 for you to get an autograph.
It was 500 for the small ones, but if you got anything bulky, it was 700. And there are some people who will bring in something bulky to be signed. Generally speaking, the wrist motions from signing something small and signing something big, I don't know if that's $200 worth of difference there, but to each his own. The same statements were made at a different event that weekend, so we're probably going to listen to that clip here in just a moment.
Well, let's go ahead and do it so the folks out there can hear it. Folks, we want to give this to you right now. This is Mark Hamill at the Fan Expo as he gets ready to go to the DNC convention. We'll crank the volume up, and thank you, Jonas, for providing this clip.
I said that before, I say, may the force be with you. Unless you're MAGA, then you can go force yourself.
Now, real quick, Jonas, part of what had surprised me about this clip when I saw it the first time was that there was largely just applause to this.
Well,
it's kind of muted, but now that you've explained that the DNC is this week and the Fan Expo was the weekend before, it kind of makes sense that this place was flooded with people who agree with Mark.
No, I'm saying that all of these are the same weekend. Also, he paused for "May the Force be with you." That was an applause line right there, I think, in Mark's eyes. And then obviously he goes for the political statement right after that. Now, I've let this clip run for a little while. This is from a channel called Fulcrum Entertainment. I want to give credit to the people who actually were at the event and uploaded the video.
Kudos to Fulcrum Entertainment. Kudos to them.
His next statement is more interesting to me.
Right,
if you'll let it
play.
go.
Here we go, folks.
Listen, I like that phrase because it sounds dirty, but it's not. And hey, I don't work blue. And I promised I wouldn't bring up politics. I won't tell you how to vote.
There you go. Right there. He just accidentally said this phrase, but he's not going to tell you how to vote. And then he says the exact same thing at a DNC welcome event, which there's a link to on my Twitter as well, if you'd like to see that one. So I think I think the idea that it's an accident is straining credibility right there.
All right, shall we play it, Jonas?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Here we go, folks. But perhaps same idea.
All right, and my message to MAGA, go force yourself, all right? And my message to MAGA, go force yourself, all right?
So, all right, well, Jonas, here's my question. Is Disney giving him permission to use this Star Wars lingo and jargon? I bet Disney has the Force, trademarked in some way or copyrighted somehow. I mean, it's clear that he's using Star Wars, the universe, for political purposes. Why does Disney not say, hey, Mark, we are in a lawsuit with Gina Carano. We fired her because she put out these tweets. You're using our actual IP. Could you stop that, please? Why doesn't Disney do that?
Well, if you go back to the lawsuit, and this is the most fascinating thing about their response to the lawsuit, they said that no, we are here to talk about politics in the way that we want to talk about politics. So they're making a clear line in the sand with Gina Carano and Mark Hamill, saying that, and Mark Hamill has always been this way for a long time. He's only gotten more outspoken, and it seems like fan events are only going to go more in this direction here as he does them.
He's vitriolic.
Right.
I mean, he can't get along with half the country.
Which is so disappointing from to see so much distance just getting farther and farther away from that idea of Luke Skywalker.
He's the Joker. That's who he is. He's the Joker. I mean, he's not Luke. And I don't understand this, Jones. I can be friends with people of many different political spectrums. It's very difficult for the wokies because the wokies don't believe in objective truth, and that makes conversations hard. But classical, liberals, conservatives, all kinds of people I can be friends with. Mark can't. He just can't. And I don't see how that, maybe he's charging $700 for an autograph because not many people want the autograph. So he's got to make it up somehow.
That's a very good point. That's one thing. If you raise your prices because only the diehards are going to want to be there, you start playing that percentage game. It's the same thing with Disney Plus. They're making a bet that 30 million people won't unsubscribe over a $2 price increase. With a ridiculous, was it 25% price increase on their streaming service?
25%, yeah.
Yeah.
As they crack down on passwords, it's not going to go well.
Right. So with this and with Mark Hamill, I just think that Disney is totally okay with him saying things like this, and they have not told all of America yet that they are very much a left-leaning company. They want to be a technology company. They want to be a Silicon Valley company, even though they are a theme park company based in Americana. I just think this speaks to the identity issue of the entire company at this point. And obviously, Mark Hamill is not officially an employee. He is a contractor, although at this point, I think he is a producer on more than one Star Wars series.
He's made it rough on them. I mean, this is going to have a backlash to them because, again, Gina and Elon, I don't believe, I'm speculating, but there's strong evidence that they don't want to settle. And if they don't want to settle, this is going to come back to bite Disney. So I get what Ron Coleman was saying on the Renegade Online show Sunday evening, that Disney wants to give the appearance that they don't care. Mission accomplished, Disney. It's time to stop now. I would say you've buried yourself enough. One thing I would like to ask you, Jonas, before we wrap up, though, this is one of the fascinating parts of these fan expos. I wonder if Mark Hamill, who's now charging $700 for these things for you to get to meet him, I wonder if Mark is bothered. Like, is he bitter at all when Gina has the longer lines, when people are waiting, out the door, and there's Mark Hamill, who was Luke Skywalker, who doesn't get that kind of appreciation? I just wonder if that's feeding into his vitriol.
I think so. Also, starring in 3 of the most influential movies of the last 30 years, and then you have someone like Gina Carano, who does 2 seasons of a show on Disney Plus, and now everyone is obsessed with her. If there is jealousy there, yeah, I could see that. Also, Gina is not. I'm not trying to say that Gina is a MAGA Republican or anything like that. I don't specifically know her politics here.
Well, I think let me interject, Jonas. I think when he says MAGA, I think he just means Republican or conservative. Like, I don't sense that Mark Hamill has the nuance to differentiate between different factions of Republicans or conservatives. I don't think he's talking about it.
Right, because when the term far right is used in the media, generally speaking, they're referring to anyone who is on the right who's actually going to vote for someone on the right.
Brett Weinstein is far right now in their mind.
Right, their definition of
they've lost their minds.
Their definition of not far right is someone who would vote for a liberal.
Right, and then the fear is the way they keep themselves in line is, don't say anything they might disagree with, because then you'll be far right.
Right.
So don't you dare step out of the woke dogma.
Exactly here. So, we try not to get too much into politics here, except that politics keeps pulling us back in. I feel like this is dangerous terror. It is entertainment. And this is the problem. It's not Mark Hamill at the DNC. And I'm not saying that we wouldn't comment on Luke Skywalker, who is so important to the resurrection of Star Wars, if that should happen, sometime in 2026, for those of you keeping track at home, if that's going to happen. I'm not saying we wouldn't comment on it if it's at the DNC, but this is at a fan event. This is very specifically supposed to be at an event where they're playing on the popularity of Disney IP. And in this moment, he says, he very specifically, there's some story going on about Harrison Ford using the F word, and he just decides, oh, this is the moment where I'm going to tell everyone who to vote for, and then jokingly say, strike that from the record. I'm not telling anyone who to vote for here. This is not cute. It's not clever. It's only clever, and it's only funny if you are already inclined to agree with him. That's that's lazy humor, which is also an affront to comedy. So
let's bring balance to the force then, Jonas. Okay, just so people understand that when we say that we're trying not to be political, we mean it. Jonas, we would cover, I think, fairly, if and let's go into bizarro world for a moment. We know this is not going to happen. But if Ryan Reynolds tomorrow comes out and says, anyone who votes for the Dems, anybody who votes for Kamala, go blank yourself, we would come out with a video the next day and say, this is not good for Disney because it alienates half of the consumers that you have, right? Now, we would have analysis, but we would say from an economic standpoint, this is nutso land.
If it's the star of one of their biggest franchises ever, then yeah, probably. If Robert Downey Jr. Comes out and says something like that, we're probably going to cover it.
Right. Now, we might chuckle, but we'll also say economically, this is a no-win because you cannot divide your consumers in half, and lose half of them, and that be a win.
And
you don't
there's
go to
also a
McDonald's, and
difference
McDonald's say you got to be this or you got to be that, or we're not giving you a burger. That's dumb.
Right. Well, there's also a difference between go vote for this political candidate and go F yourself.
Right. Go force yourself.
Right.
All right, folks. Well, we will never force you to click that like button, but we surely would appreciate it. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on this subject. And folks, if you'd like to have many more of these types of subjects, well, not only does the Pro Channel release videos thrice a day, because thrice is nice, but you can find more over on that Park Place, where Jonas is heading that effort up to keep you abreast of all the latest when it comes to Disney and entertainment, all the news that should be fun. Jonas, any final thoughts before we head on out today?
All I'm going to say is I like the idea of a hopeful franchise here, one that points towards the good in all the world. And politics has a tendency to get into the lack of hope, especially lately here. So, I don't like the dissonance here of not only do I disagree with you for your political views, but I'm going to imply that there's a hopelessness in you if you disagree with me. That's really where the problem is here. If he's representing the character and he knows that he is, I want that hope in there that they would pretend to trade on. I want that actual hope in Star Wars again.
Speaking of which, Jonas, I hope that we can get together again, hopefully later this week. It's been a lot of fun getting to just do the two of us for a video. You are so busy now with all of your successes, and we're so busy over here. We don't often get to just sit down, the two of us, and have a chat, and I think this was fun. I hope the audience agrees. So, Jonas, can we get you back at least one more time?
I would love that. That sounds great to me.
All right. Well, folks, we're going to put it on the list. We'll hope you'll be right back with us. All right. Until we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.